A huge shout out to the overthinkers.
An overthinker. He watches the show.
To the overthinkers, shout out Buffet too.
Keep inspiring the next generation.
Shout out to the overthinkers. Thando kuphela. Much love.
To my overthinkers, mamela ubuchopho ngeke buphume buyakhula nizinja nikhokho yazini as overthink siya overachieve.
I'm stealing that. I've stolen that one. I've stolen it.
Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is George Mokwena. I am your host. The show is on every Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. We're now back to 7 p.m. That is when the show is going to be on. And then on Fridays, we have our members only show, which happens at 12:30. For those that are joining for the first time, this is where we have a lot of really deep, nuanced conversations about football, as well as reviewing matches, previewing matches, and also having some spirited debates about a lot of topics that are facing African football more than anything. So African and South African football more than anything. So welcome to those who are joining me for the first time. Welcome to the family. Click on follow there. And then if you've ever joined my show before, or if you're new, we do have panels. People who can add their voice to the show by calling in via TikTok. In order to call in, you have to join me while I'm live on TikTok. There's a little button at the bottom of your screen that says multi-guest. You click on that button, you request, I let you in, you add your voice to the show live and contribute towards the platform. Guys, remember, this is not reserved for certain people. Anybody can jump in at any time. You just so happen to be following me. Not necessarily anytime, I'll tell you when. But guys, okay, so I want to dedicate the first hour of the show. We're going to dedicate that to reviewing the matches that we had yesterday. Of course, Banyana Banyana was in action versus Tanzania. They came in with a 3-0 win from the first leg that they played in Dar es Salaam, and they managed to win 1-0 last night in order to make it through to the next round of the Olympic qualifiers, Paris Olympics 2024. They want to make it into that competition, and we have one more hurdle, which just so happens to be the Niger boys, Nigeria, for us to qualify. Then, of course, Mamelodi Sundowns locked horns with the Amazulu. Mamelodi Sundowns, of course, number 1 in the league, unbeaten. And Amazulu, number 10 last night, with 5 wins, 7 draws, and 5 losses. They, of course, lost to Mamelodi Sundowns 3-0. That means the unbeaten run carries on for Mamelodi Sundowns. 13 games won, 3 draws, and no losses. We're going to touch on that match too. Then, a very interesting topic came up last night while we were talking about the games. And we spoke about what makes a game exciting. What is it that makes a game entertaining? And is there something, Tina, South Africans, we have that we can't watch quote-unquote boring football because it's not the type of football that we watch? And I want to hear from you guys. What does make a match exciting? What makes it exciting? Is it tactical? Is it whatever? And was last night's game boring? As an example of a match that we can speak about. So I'm going to open up, guys. Hello? Guys, is my mic off? What's going on? Is my mic giving problems? Let me see. Is my mic bad? Okay, I'm seeing people are complaining. I just heard it now. It seems to be okay. I am sorry if Let's see. Okay. Just tell me if it gets worse. I hope you guys can hear me though. But anyway, let's get straight into it. I'm going to open up multi-guest right now. Please remember, it's the button at the bottom of your screen. It's got a blue figure hugging a pink figure. Click on the button so that you can request. But remember, you have to be following me in order for you to jump into the show. Now, yesterday, I'll start off with Sundowns Amazulu. So, yesterday's game was frustrating for me. And it was frustrating because Amazulu came with a plan. The plan was that they were going to play a low block. The plan was that they were going to stay and try not lose the game. When we look at what the stats say at the end of the game, Sundowns had 13 shots, 6 on target. Amazulu had 4 shots, 1 on target. 77% of the possession went to Sundowns, whereas the Amazulu had the 23. They only completed 176 passes on 63% completion rate, whereas Sundowns played 611 passes at 89% completion rate. I think the game played out exactly how the first game that Sundowns played versus Amazulu played out as. Amazulu came to defend, they sat back, and then Sundowns kept hitting them until they got their first 2 goals. Then second half is when Amazulu tried to come back into the game and play better football, as they did in the second half of the first time Amazulu and Sundowns played, where they actually showed up. They looked like a threatening team. Now, you could argue that Sundowns had done their job, so they didn't need to go too far forward. But Sundowns did manage to get their 3-0, and that is what happened. I do give Rulani credit for this because it's not the first time they've faced this. And also, this is now probably out of the 12 games they've won in the league, 9 of those games have been versus low block teams. So you have to see, you have to give Sundowns credit for being able to break down teams and credit for being unbeaten. I was one of the people at the beginning of the season that said, no, Sundowns is not the same Sundowns. They are weak, they are beatable. But after you see 12 wins and 3 draws and 16 games in the league where they have not been beaten, you have to say that maybe this is the pattern that they're playing, and maybe Rulani is resorting to more of an African, continental type of football. So let's see. I'm going to open it up and let's hear from you guys how you saw this game. They're gonna catch hands. They're gonna hit each other, those two. So let me just open up. We'll have a conversation about that before we go into the conversation about what is entertaining football and what is not entertaining football. Kumo, welcome to the show, brother. How are you? Is it really? Guys, I'm listening back on the app. Let me check. You're on and off. Okay. No, let's go. I think I might know what it is, but let's soldier through. Welcome, my brother. How did you see the game? Yalo, Sundowns, Amazulu. Mm. 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 Okay. Yeah. Hey, Marwa. Ah. Mm. I don't know what's happening, guys. I don't know what's happening, but carry on. I can hear you. And the recording will hear you. Yeah, the recording will hear you. Yeah. Ay, man, Kubo. Ay, focus. Bali bara, loda. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 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 For time's sake, let me go to Uvelile. Mtaka Baba, welcome to the show. How are you? Hayi right man Mtaka Baba. Tell me, uyibone njani le game? Ngithi ungene ngaleso sikhathi mina ngibona ama request usifakile. Ah. Sekeleni. Sekeleni. Yeah. 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 Some things, I'm sorry guys, something seems to be happening. I think my default sound was it just changed over. You could just carry on. Yeah, you can carry on. I just want to check something.
Yesterday's match, he showed up, reminded me Ubongane before he went overseas, in terms of like taking charge of the game from the way he was playing Mamatax, Nagubafana Bafana even. He can still play there, Gubafana Bafana. He can still compete for a place, no yeah. And I'm happy because Urulan is showing that. And I know sometimes Urulan, when he does certain things, he just do them with the intentions also of moving forward and looking at the development.
Yeah.
But so far, you're on a team is Sundowns. That's the best and the best coach at all. Amazulu they didn't arrive mhlambe basale lapho ukhuma asho khona kube baye khona into zabo zisale khona sazi. Ngoba ngithi sibonile omunye bamxosha weekend lapha yena afuna ukuyofaka into zakhe badlala neteam encane.
Yeah.
Bamxosha afuna ukuyofaka into zakhe cabanga neteam edlala ku fifth division. Hayi kahleni bafethu no. They didn't arrive. No, Sundowns was just super.
Okay. No, Gyaguza, Pravin. Okay. Hi, guys. You guys will fight amongst yourselves. Let me go to Agent. Agent, how you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. Just a bit tired, but I'm good nonetheless.
Are we a little bit better now on the sound, guys?
Yeah, no, I think everything is fine now. I think everything is sorted.
Okay. Tell me,
Yeah,
what did you see from your game?
I think, we should do more shows at this time, eh? I think after 8, maybe Babuto Mdala will very late. Maybe that will tire and everything. Because now they're speaking sense, eh? They speak sense. I was about to ask him, please, join me on the second part of the show because we need to discuss things that you're talking about. Good things, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's making a lot of sense about the gym thing. But I think back to the game. One thing I like about Urulani is he is a student of the game.
Yeah.
He analyzes the game, he takes things that work, and he implements them. At AFCON, Umukwena played a very interesting role, where he was kind of like playing a free role. He pops up on the right, he was on the left, he was up there, his defenders everywhere, That's how Bruce was using him,
Yeah.
And last game, I saw Urulane trying it with Umukwena, and this game, he did it interestingly with Uzungu, So it was interesting because Uzungu previously played the Kotier role, where when they're building up, he's gets into midfield.
Yeah.
And then when we're defending, he gets over to the defense. So it was interesting that he made he made Uzungu and Umukwena play that role together. They were interchanging. So at first, is Uzungu starts at the back, plays the Kotier role. Mukwena does his usual role of popping up on the left, on the right, and everywhere, and in the box. And then sometimes they switch. You find Umukwena at the back with the back three now in the midfield, and Uzungu is the one who's popping up on the left and on the right. So it was a very interesting dynamic that I enjoyed yesterday watching. And I think this is the best of Uzungu, and I think by doing that, you're not making him tired, because it is defensively tiring to be a defender,
Yeah.
And I think that also induces a bit of excitement in him that, okay, at some point I'll be allowed to go forward and do things that I like, because no one likes to defend, So I think it was genius of Ugolano to make those two interchange, So yeah, and otherwise I'm impressed with Udivine Lunga. Sometimes God's timing is the best, God's timing is the best. Divine waited for his chance, and I think this is how you utilize your chance. You get in, you make sure that you perform. You ask the question after the Paris game: will we ever see Lodge soon in the thing lineup? And we're like, at Sundowns, maybe it'll be all for 3 or 4 games, not on the starting lineup. Because at Sundowns, when you get in the starting lineup, you must make sure you perform so that you can stay in, So I'm impressed by Divine. I'm impressed by Zuko also. And Wana Sidwele, man, also, man. He's underrated. I think 4 games, 3 goals. 3 assists, 1 goal. He's playing well. That's my boy that I know. And it's interesting that almost all the players at Sundowns are beginning to reach form at this stage. I think that's very interesting. And I think it will help us maybe get over the line. So yeah, other stuff, I think, is the usual suspects and everything working out, yeah.
Your coach is rotating, man. He's learning, but it's fine. Let's go to Labor. Labor, welcome to the show. How are you? You can just unmute there. Okay, I'm gonna come back.
I'm fine.
There we go. I'm good. Sorry. What do you think of the Sundowns and Amazulu game?
That was an interesting game, man. Like, ke bone Zungu, man. Zungu ndaleji mabana, Zungu ndaleji le Mokwena. Mara Sundowns so ga checka thoma at the back. Goalkeeper
Papile, Julius,
lona.
o tshintshile lebitso.
No, ke Leiba se Julius.
Okay, I can get Julius. Okay, no, go on, go on.
Yeah, hey, goalkeeper lona o dia mmereko wayo. So
Hey, Karo Akata. Labor.
goalkeeper department.
There we go.
Yeah, ke salo. Yeah, from goalkeeper department until striking force I ka CDS. Bona go morao goalkeeper mo gare Zungu le Mokwena ko pele Southern players tšao tšwa ka ntle a ka CDS. Still want to play and all level no ba sign news. So I got serious now. Sundowns is on fire. Each and every let's substitute John like we got mental come one. And you can and you can check from first half. Amazulu Bugari attack and then after that Mukwena change everything. Then Sundowns Kawanoria the Sundowns Mukwena analyze a game or do everything.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that was an interesting game.
I think if I can just jump in, for me, I like what you guys, and I see in the comments, somebody spoke about how Sundowns players, they show Guti there's coaching. They show there's something, man, that these coaches do with them. And it goes to part of my point about yesterday that I hear that coach is going back to what he knows and things like that. But what worries me is that Iplaniake is one way, it doesn't go the other way. So when we speak about Sundowns, the Kutsia role, it's you're a defender, you're a center back when it calls to be a center back, you're a center mid to progress the ball when it calls for you to progress the ball. But the rest of the teams only do one side of the plan. Kumo, is this the only way that you can play versus the Sundowns? Because from where I'm looking at it, in as much as we're saying if you are positive versus Sundowns, and mind you, I don't mean pound for pound. If you're positive versus Sundowns, it seems as though you're not going to get the 6-1. But then if you're negative, you are going to lose the game. And this game was a 3-0 loss. Is this the way to play Sundowns? Should all teams come in this negative, if I could say that?
No, it doesn't work, man. Like I said previously, it won't work this low bog. If you really want to punish Sundowns, because hey guys, to be honest, you've got some of the slowest defenders in the world here, and there's a particular side that people like to exploit. Mara, yesterday it wasn't that visible. You only see it especially when AB plays, right? Mara. And literally, you forget who William say, like he tends to do some magics, especially when you test him, got the long range and stuff like that. Like you can beat Sundowns. But the problem now, Sundowns has this fear factor, man. Has this fear factor, it makes other teams doubt themselves. And honestly, like if you mark and deprive Sundowns their spaces, and also when you counter attack, you have to be clinical because of Sundowns will give you a chance, ne? And it's up to you. The honors will always be up to you if you score or not. But the problem with that sentiment, ne? If you score against Sundowns, it makes them actually want to score 5 more against you. So like it invokes something in them and they will punish you. Mara, if you are truly a quality side and you don't succumb to your fears and you stick to your game plan, you can actually beat Sundowns, because as much as we've got so much quality, but not all of our players have enough game time. Not all our players are confident, especially with Sundowns. I mean, like Lochu Tomile 2 games starting, suddenly he's on the bench. Shaluli, our prolific striker, wasn't even playing last night. So that makes you think, okay, Mara, I can really work on their mentality. Granted, Sundowns doesn't panic most of the games. Mara, person get person, you can really work on some people's insecurities and exploit those, and you can see the mistakes because we have. Happy Sundown, so if we're being honest, hasn't really playing at the 100%. I can say we 60. Mara, we so good, it makes it seem like we have no mistakes in us. Mara, punish us. Punish us by doing this high pressure, high pressing and exploiting our weaknesses, especially in our defense. Or actually, you can go for it. I mean, like, as much as you fear that you're gonna issue pressers, you're gonna leave some pockets behind there. What's one? You're gonna lose the game anyway. You might as well go on a bang and see who you can't really go for them.
Okay. And I just want to add on from my side, guys. This is my opinion. I think the most important thing that teams tend to lose when they're playing versus Sundowns is discipline. You can play a low block, but as Agent said yesterday, can you be mentally focused for 90 minutes? You can play a high press. Can you be focused enough to be disciplined in the press that you're doing? Because what tends to happen is that Sundowns, for most of the game, stays here. They find their 70%, their 60, 70%, and they stay here for 90 minutes because they know that at some point we are going to score, right? At some point, somebody's either going to get too excited or lose concentration. And if you look at the games where they've drawn, let's say Cape Town City, more of an example. In Cape Town City literally played at a very high tempo, a very high press for almost the whole 90 minutes, right? And that is the challenge that teams have. My issue is that I think our teams come in and they think, hi, we'll just sit back. And when we sit back, we'll wait and hope that Lomuntu stops hitting me. And then that's when I want to fight back. And that usually hurts the teams. Agent, is this how to approach Sundowns, the way Amazulu played the game yesterday?
Why is very on top of me now? Aye. How did that? Oh, it's fine. It's today, just for today, it's fine. We're on the same side. It's okay. But I think for me, there are three types of players sometimes. So for me, I think what matters is the players that we have, and the coaching perhaps, because it's not enough to have the players. As a coach, you must be able to have a system that you understand and you master, to an extent that we know that you can master it, you can train it, and your players can execute it. Because for me, you just have to choose. It's either you want to deny Sundown space, or you want to deny them the ball, or you want to deny them the comfortability. Because we have to be comfortable for us to play. So when you look at a coach like Gavin Hunt, when it comes to defensive solidity, he's the best, man. When it comes to picking the bus, the ball taker bus, he's the best. So if you are a super sport, I would expect a Gavin Hunt, because he knows how to defend, for him to play low block and deny Sundown space. Because with Sundowns, once you deny them space and force them to go out wide on the channels, it's difficult, because none of our strikers are good at hitting the ball, and it looks like the only crosses that our wingers can make are cutback crosses. They're not crosses in the original sense, So if you're a super sport, I expect you to play a low block, It's just unfortunate Amazulu didn't work, and maybe they're just getting used to the system because the change of system we do. But Martid also is showing that he is a coach in the mold of Kevin Hunt, And then if you are a Pirates, you have players like Abo Saling, Amoswangai, and stuff like that, people who can run fast, and they have that stamina, and that youthful exuberance. I expect you to be Stellenbosch. I expect you to be on the face of Sundowns. Deny them, deny the defenders that comfortability, Just be on their faces, bombard them, because if we can't build from the back, Sundowns is as good as dead. Without our defenders, that's why our defenders at most times has to be midfielders, because that's where we start playing, and if you look at Pirates, The reason why we struggle against them is because they don't give us time to build from the back, generally, so that could work also, provided you have players that can press, and like you're saying, they have to be physically there, and they have to be disciplined to do it in a coordinated manner for a long time, because if one person does it wrong, it exposes them. It's a high risk, high reward strategy. And one pass, you pressed wrong, all the team is eliminated. It's a 1v1, So that could work also, and also that requires you to have a good defense, because that means you have to play a higher line, and a higher line demands a super keeper kind of role, a China role. So when we have maybe a Bavuma, okay, not Bavuma, I'm joking, but when you have a what is the Cape Town keeper, the long, the kid kind of, he can't play super keeper, so it will be dangerous for you to try and play a high line with Sundowns, or just be a Cape Town City, The reason why Cape Town City does well against us, it's not that they press us high or they defensively solid, is when they have the ball, they keep it. They make us look for it. We play more or less the same game. So they are denying us the chance to have the ball. We must be tired also in chasing it. So I think for me, those are the three ways of playing, depending on what you have.
Very quickly, are South African coaches more defensive? Because I hear what you're saying, but a lot of the time when you watch Sundowns play teams, I always say that defensive doesn't mean you're not threatening. Defensive doesn't mean you don't have a plan the other way. You know what I mean? And I feel as though a lot of the teams come in when they play versus Sundowns. Number one priority is like, guys, we're sitting back. We're not going to go forward. You'll find Dupree marking with the right back. You'll find, hey, it's a very emergency situation. Do teams, and maybe we could look at the league in general outside of when they play Sundowns, do teams have go-to ways to score? I can tell you what Gavin Hunt's way is the other way around. He's got that very dangerous early cross to Grobler transition. But a lot of the coaches don't have a plan for when they actually have the ball.
I think it's the three ways that you can play against Sundowns. The easiest way to do is to defend, like way back, just defend, because unless you're a Stellenbosch, where you are used to running up and down the mountains and a Steve Barker kind of person, it's very difficult to build durability to press high in a space of a week, or even sometimes 3 days, So hence most coaches fall in the trap of doing the easier one, and if you are, let's say, a Sikukuna, for example, it's very difficult for you to, in a space of 3 days, to all of a sudden be Cape Town City in terms of playing the ball, So I think that's why most teams naturally revert back to a all men behind the ball kind of thing, So I think that's where it comes from. Like, this is the easiest way we can try in 2 days to try and master, and that's a problem, because for me, I feel play according to your strength, You can be defensively solid, but play according to your strength. Play a system that that you have been playing. It's like what I raised against Dinklage side, that Dinklage side knew that most probably will lose. But how do we want to lose? Do you want to lose having defended, or want to lose knowing, based on our tactics, that's how we can improve, Okay. So for me, if I was a coach, that's how I would do it. I was like, let me play how I usually play. Like in another team, yes, respect Sundowns, but if I were to lose, let me lose knowing that at least the boys tried something they master, not something they don't usually do. So yeah.
Is this how they must approach Sundowns, number one? And then number two, I'm going we give teams credit for defending versus Sundowns, and we don't talk about the fact that a lot of them don't have a plan, and sometimes you don't even need to high press. Just to have a plan, yes, the guys we can score. I feel like our teams are defensive for defensive sake. Mara, you can be defensive and score. Mourinho, for example, with Chelsea, very, very good defense. Sometimes, but they knew how to get the 1-0 and move away. What do you feel about this conversation?
I think if I have to go back, if you have listened to Upita when we are still coaching Sundowns, where by the way discussing nabo Manqoba nabo Rulani, stating ukuthi Upita normally forces them to watch game abawadlalile and also to watch other teams. They could spend probably like the whole day, even the whole night, just watching their opponents or their games. So good, where have they made mistake, or how can they fix it, like moving forward?
Yeah.
Because that's helped a lot in also identifying good strength summer player also wako Anjan. Because if you can look at what Sundowns has done, which is a master stroke, is identifying players that they're gonna fit into the system. That's why it's easier, because most of us, we've expected to divide Lunga as a left wing, because remember from Arrows he's a left wing, even from National he was a left. But if you look at how comfortable it was yesterday, or since he's playing more of a central defense. And if you look, Mangati Apega, Axel Gokala was that has moved Umvala from good defensive midfield to a defense, also Umudiba to more like an attacking, like sort of like a 10, if I'm not mistaken, of which is shooting like cool. When he's in a team list to Zobona Ngat, he's a left back. But you can watch the whole game, he's not there. And of which I feel good sometimes the other teams coaching, that's why it's lacking to also identify that space as sure Umudiba, because it's Sundowns when it attacks you. By 6. You would always find the play, even when they cut back those balls, they always find players in the box, 2 or 3. Ushalule will be in the box, Uribe will be in the box, and then Umshish will be joining them. It's guaranteed. I could try about Umuta Kichima and just cut back the ball or square the ball to Lagu 18 at Namund. I think the system suits well, because Urowen is more also now comfortable on the ball these days, which is also an added advantage in terms of like moving forward. So the players that I could say they are defender, that they are given the responsibility of just defending, and they are defender value. Ukekana, if I'm not mistaken, Uyongatusala emuva, like, and try and play those. But the other ones, you can see they're comfortable on the ball. They just play their the different system also in terms of attacking. But sometimes they even defend on numbers. The Pirates can match them. But if you can look at the Pirates, since you figure Rivero, they are no longer the Pirates that you know. Yes, speed. Because Pirates, we know it's their tradition. They use wingers, they use speed, and sometimes the Pirates, you will concede between the first 20 minutes. In terms of the way they used to attack, but now with Rivera, they've relaxed that a bit. But I say this is cool, and since the amount of no selling I accept that element of speed moving forward. We can sometimes defeat the purpose, but udlala 2 defensive midfielders. In most cases, like the Sundowns, either utola team no Munare, or like now when Makethlin, but no team. Yes, so like it's good in terms of Sundowns style of playing, in terms of like marking pound for pound, not giving them space, especially midfield to dominate But once you let them dominate and start that play from the middle after receiving those balls from Ipugudala Uriva at the back, or Umvala joining them with Umuda on the right, they become dangerous. But Bona, it needs you to identify. Sometimes if it means ukuthi kumele ufake ama-player ayi-2 angagaqa, not to say ukuthi no, Nina, you must always try and come pound to pound with them, and in terms of defending and attacking, mark the space, relax, and let the other players do the work for you and give the ball to you, and also try to use your skill. It didn't allow my player yet. And also, you make sure that when you get those chances, you bury them. Because you can look at Pirates game, it had more chance ball on target than it Sundowns. But if those players were clinical in terms of like finishing,
but then very like for Ukbuza, more specifically, outside of them playing versus Sundowns, Elikini, there's maybe only 4 or 5 teams that we can say siyazi ukuthi badlala kanjani, but defender so, but attacker so. SuperSport we know, Stellenbosch we know. They have a plan the other way. Mara, the rest of the teams, Lagu League, especially Pambili, final third, you don't know what they're doing most of the time. And I want to give Urlani credit on that. Guti, not only is Sundowns good in a defensive sense when they're under pressure. Boni Sundowns, Guti, they tend to be organized. But Mabaya Pambili, you can tell the plan, and the plan doesn't have to be the same for all teams. But we are Pambili, most of the teams that's what Boni would buy enzani.
Yes, that's why I say it also comes down to coaching. Because if you are a coach, you umsebenzi wakho mawulapha to also identify. It gives you time food. That's why I have a problem with this substitution in 55 minutes. But sometimes you say to make substitution is 55 or 60.
55, 65, yeah.
Because if you are a coach, you can see no man, this plan doesn't work, or if whether I've got a material on the bench that can come and change this game whatsoever. Because remember, sometimes the material on the bench, it doesn't need to be a star player. It can be a player who's committed, who knows what if they can put this player in role engimfuna adlale yona. It doesn't need to be a star player. You can change the whole techniques and the complexion of the game with the players that are coming in from the bench after you saw, okay, this is what's happening, and then here I'm under attack or what. But our coaches, in most cases, they just enjoy sitting there, or sometimes don't even watch games or Sundowns, or which sometimes my players now, I don't think they do watch a game wow and their opponent. That's why you have my players and about Don still going to do the same one mistake now and again. And so it doesn't help. You play opponents that are so good, they've been like this, they've been constant for 7 years now. Surely, there's no one who can come up with a solid plan just with now they've played almost close to 40 games without a lose. Like really. But I love the competition that is coming in between coach you and Rulani, no Ramovic. Not the team, the coaches, both. I know sometimes it will have an influence in the players when they meet.
Yeah.
That's a good competition that we need. So let's see it. We will see it from there.
Hey, it's fine. We're going to see that soon. Soon and very soon.
But it's a good one. That one is a good one because I know it will spill into the field of play.
Yeah.
And that will be what we wanted. As long as Magagaba Pulan, but that will be the game to watch. I'm telling you.
No, when the game comes, we'll give it the attention that it wants. Okay, guys. Okay, so we're gonna go into just Banyana Banyana and their result. Then I want to have a discussion that follows what we're speaking about here. What is entertaining football? One, like what do we deem to be entertaining football in South Africa? And then number two, do our teams have identities, guys? Do our teams have identities? Do our teams know what they're going to play on a daily basis? Not just in the defensive sense, but also going forward. So we're going to have that chat after we touch on Banyana Banyana a little bit. So guys in the line, we're going to speak about Banyana, and then we're going to go into that topic afterwards. So Banyana Banyana is a very important team to us because they are the second best team in Africa. They are the current WAFCON champions. They hold the continental trophy. And they're on their way to qualifying to AMA Olympics. When we speak about AMA Olympics and on the road, actually on the road, Safa, where we say that, no, guys, maybe we might it's actually a thing that they're going to do. Banyana Banyana has been to a World Cup last year and they got to the knockout rounds. And now they're playing versus Tanzania. They played Tanzania yesterday and last Friday. They've won the tie 4-0. So that means that we are one step away from qualifying for the Olympics. And that step just so happens to be Nigeria. I don't want to spend too much time on this because the Tanzania didn't necessarily play as hard as we thought they would. And what you'd expect from a team also trying to qualify. So that is what happened. I think Banyana Banyana played a very safe game. You saw a couple of new players coming in, especially in that defense. And they saw the game out, guys. That's all they needed to do. They were 3-0 up. They got their last goal through Utembi and then Utembi Khatlana, and then they saw out the game. It is Jermaine Sioposinwa's 100th game for Banyana Banyana. She joined an elite club. Yabo Janine van Veek, Yabo Posham Dise, those players. So, Abo Manda Dlamini. So, I want us to speak about them and give them the respect that they also deserve. Being the only national team that has taken us very, very far in terms of national competition and continental competition. So let me bring in Umalume Kuto. We watched the game all together last night. Malume Kuto, welcome to the show. How are you, my brother?
Ngimnandi, Mr. Oti. How are you?
Hi, Kimnati, man, Kimnati. Banyana Banyana, does it again, representing us.
Yeah, no, ish. We are proud as South Africans. Top two most important teams in South Africa in terms of football are taking back their place, which is Banyana Banyana as well as Bafana Bafana. The only people who have to come to the party now are the under 23s. You understand? I'm happy, Mr. Oti. Even though I'm worried, the quality defensively, I'm not yet convinced. Even it's like individual quality for now. Akiboni, new players coming through. I saw this number 20, the lady was number 20. She came in.
Nkwane.
No, not Nkwal. The one, is it Smith or something?
Schmidt, 18.
I think she was wearing number 20 last time around. She's the one who looks like she's gonna take over Peyton, you understand? But the others, man, it's like it distance between them and the more prominent players is extremely wide, you know. So I'm worried with Akiboni, who's gonna take us to Olympics, because it's gonna be difficult, Mr. Uti. We are going up against Nigeria. Imagine it's like a final and you play the best team. I'm sure it can. Kefman, you know what I like about Europe, ne? They've tipped the scales. They have tipped the scales to make sure that England, Germany have a better chance of going to the World Cup together, as opposed to having England and Germany playing for that World Cup spot.
Yeah.
Against each other. And if we're being honest, as Africans, we want Banyana and Nigeria to represent us at the Olympics. Now to have Banyana and Nigeria playing against each other, it's a blow to African football. And that the other final, because it's two finals. Remember, it's only two teams that go forward.
Yeah.
To have Morocco as well as is it Cameroon? Not
Not Cameroon. I forgot the yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of the West Africans going to play to go to a final. Aye man, I'm not happy. I feel CAF should be streetwise with these things, man. Have your best teams. Try and make it easy for your best teams to go and represent you. You understand? And when it comes to Banyana Banyana, like I said, I don't know who's gonna replace Uchane. We've been playing some weak opposition, and you can see as in Urefile akathatha ama-injection, man. Akathatha ama-injection and take to the field. Yeah, we've seen these things before. I mean, even at the highest level, for me, I can say with Kevin De Bruyne has been injured for the longest time, and Pep Guardiola knew with Yazin. I need Kevin De Bruyne. You come in and out. Ubon with Amarengo Yilimele. Bamspanese, Mr. Witsi. So Urefile must follow in those footsteps. You understand? And you will still be saying that would be unfair. Yes, I'm advocating for your unfairness.
So then, Malume Kuto, isn't that one of the, I don't want to say weaknesses because she's been very good. Isn't that one of the blind spots, Coach Desiree, that there isn't a secondary team? You know, Linda has to go from number 10 to go playing 6 because we don't have Urefilwe there. Biana and Mutau, I think it was Mutau last night, they were changing roles, but it's because we know one can't last the whole 90 minutes against, let's say, good opposition. The other one might get a red card. Is it a commentary on us not having talent, or is it that Coach Desiree hasn't been able to unearth the next ones?
I think it's a combination of a lot of factors, and scouting is one of them. Development is another. Even issue of professional league is another issue. As well as man, eh, I'm gonna say it. This one team that keeps signing all the players, man. The players need to play. Our best players need to play. I saw this other post from one of the TikTokers saying which Jody has not played football for his team for the longest time. And we know Jody was a promising prospect for the country. Not to throw shade at anyone, he's a great character, Uveli Motor, but we I don't think let me not say we, but for now, I think Jody would have been better suited sitting on that bench behind Kanakemang, behind Ronan Williams.
Ronwen, yeah.
I think he would have been a better deputy because I get worried sometimes with very much is going to be called upon. If Ronwen gets injured, and Veli's not a slouch himself, but I'm like, is he the best? When we have other better players, but they are languishing there within the prison cells, you understand? So for Banyana Banyana as well, I think it's going in that direction, you understand, Mr. Uchi, where some of our better players, and you can't blame them. I would also want that contract, you understand, Mr. Uchi? So there is that part, and maybe even the talent, man. You know, golden generation. Belgium had a golden generation with Abu Hazard, Nabo Company, but maybe Lorona we had our golden generation. Kabo Jamin Sopesin, as well as Kanakimang this one. Khatlana, Matalo, and they remind me a lot of. There's this under 23 that we once had of Abu Chigendoli, If Mutupa, and Dylan McCall, where they were literally playing, I think by 4, and they didn't care who else was there. And even the coach just accepted with today I'm going to play Dylan McCall as right back, Obru Mudiba as left back. Tomorrow I'm going to play Dylan McCall as a 6, Obru Mudiba as a 6. It was legit like what's happening with Banyana Banyana, where Linda is moving from a number 10. When one of the most senior players is injured, Linda has to move into an 8 or a 6. And Ubiana, maybe it's genetic. I won't blame her as much because we know it's Abanyebetu Sondlegile. But I feel like she's heavy. She's very good. She does have the mental capacity and everything, but the red cards come from being late.
Yeah.
And the being late comes from her immobility, if I may.
Okay.
And I think it's based on the weight. Because I look at her and I'm like, Ish, you are very good, but I feel like you don't take yourself seriously as a professional, you understand? So we do need a plan to put in place. And I remember when Kev also said AMA teams should have AMA development, or rather AMA female sides. I think it was speaking to this to say we don't have competitive teams, or we don't have teams with competitive structures. So if we at least get our chiefs, well, let me not put weight on them, but if we can at least have serious teams, more competitive teams, then we can see amanyama options, some better players, some better coaching, some better because it's important, Mr. Uti. You can't just run a team. You can run a team, sihlangane sijime ngamakipkip wethu jime ngeskin sakho se-super sport. I train with Manse Cape Town City, but the facilities are important, Mr. Uti. The access to connecting that gym, your school.
Gym yako scoring. Oh, High Performance Center, HPC.
Yeah, access to that also comes. Mr. Uti, in terms of funds, you understand. So we need teams that naturally have access to such. Naturally, yeah, a overthinking gym, need develop. You understand. I don't know if it's landing on what you are saying, but I feel like some of our players, they don't look like professionals, man.
No. Malume Kutso, let me bring in Richie. Richie, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Hi, OG. I'm good. Yourself, man?
I'm good. Richie, Banyana Banyana, still carrying the flag up high for us.
No, we are very proud of the girls. They They represent the country well. They do well when they needed to do well the most. You understand? And we ought to celebrate them when they should be celebrated, and we ought to be happy. But the concern is that with the team that we have, I think we've had this team for the longest time now. It's time for some fresh legs, for some fresh ideas. I mean, I think the average age in that team is 28 or 29 and up. You understand? The likes of Otembi, Orifilwe, these are guys that have carried us, but now it's time to move on, and I feel that's where our coach and her scouting team are failing us, because we can't have the same team that took us to the World Cup, that won the WAFCON, and we still have the same team that's going to represent us at the Olympic Games. Yeah, you understand? It shows that there's a lack of development per se, and there's a lack of SAFA investing in grassroots football. You understand? Because if we had scouts that are really going into Ekasi and make sure that when they get to Ekasi, they get these girls and they develop these girls. You understand? We don't have that. Yabona. So I feel like even with what Abuti was saying, we have our golden generation, but our golden generation is aging. You understand?
Yeah.
Likewise, Belgium had their golden generation. England had their golden generation in 2010, and it brought them nothing. You understand? At least our golden generation has brought us WAFCON, and they brought us last 16 position in the World Cup. You understand? Which I feel now it's time to move on. Yeah, Bona. And it's time for us to start looking at the 20-year-olds, the 22-year-olds. Let's build now for our future. You understand?
But then, Richie, why does it feel that now that there's a semi-professional league, now that Rabo Sundowns are pumping money, why does it feel as though we've gone backwards a little bit in terms of talent identification? Because if there's one thing that women's football has done very well in South Africa, it's been finding our Tembi, finding our Janine, finding our Portia through very rough situations. But now that we've got steady places where talent should be coming through, it's not making it to Banyana, and we are essentially holding on to players so long.
The question is, OT, are the talent scouts really going into our communities? Are the talent scouts of ISAFA really going to these clubs, going to watch these games, and making sure that they look at the young and up and coming ladies in these leagues? Because if we look at our Banyana team, I can say there's probably at this moment maybe not even more than 5 youngsters in the team. The rest are the names that we know. You understand? So it's a question of is SAFA really investing into our grassroots football? Because that's where it starts, OT. That's where we see that we as a country, we are moving forward. That's where we see that we as a country, okay, we can see now, okay, at least there are probably 4 or 5 youngsters from between the ages of 17 and 22 that are in our squad. You understand? Now that's where I feel Utezre and the team are failing us. They are failing these ladies, because as you said, there are two ladies that for an example, Urifilwe is not there now. You understand? Now we must cut Umutlalo and bring Umutlalo back into playing six because yes, she's versatile, but is she strong for us in that position? No, she's not. But she's able to do the job. Yeah, understand? So it's a question of is Safa really investing in going into the communities and making sure that our communities are, I mean, the girls in the communities are given the opportunities. You understand? Maybe the clubs also in the ladies league, in the Sasso league, are they also going into the communities and looking, because I want to commend what's this team, TS Galaxy, on the appointment of Ashraf Calvet, the new TS Galaxy coach. Yeah, he's a Cape Townian. We know him. He's achieved when OT. He's won in every division he has coached in Cape Town. But and the guy has a KFC license. You understand? Which means we have these coaches that are in the grassroots that knows these youngsters that are there. But are they also given the opportunities? They're not. But at the moment, let us celebrate our ladies. They're making us proud.
I wanted to
Let's
go.
give credit where it's due. They are making us proud. They are doing the job. But the scary part of all is the longevity. How long can they carry this responsibility? I just want to talk about. I just want to talk about how Tanzania treated our girls in when we are playing away.
Yeah.
That is very wrong in the football world, man. We if you check OT, we are in these countries, even in Abo Morocco, Abo Egypt, when our teams go and play in those countries, they are treated like they are nothing. But when those teams comes to South Africa, we treat them with respect and we treat them with dignity. But are we getting the same treatment? No, we're not. Look, I was watching one clip because I didn't watch the game in Tanzania, but I was watching a clip where Jermaine and the goalkeeper had an altercation, which is unnecessary. I mean, at the end of the day, you are girls. You understand? These are girls that are playing there. So CAF must look into these things. Patrice Magadlali Indimaya, I mean, is a South African. Our players shouldn't be treated this way when they are away, OT.
Okay. I just want to ask one quick question. Malome Kutso, I want to defend Coach Desiree, but then I also want you to give a little bit credit to the girls afterwards. When you get a golden generation, do you not ride that thing until the wheels come off? Because, like we say, it's a golden generation.
Mr. OT, not only the wheels, you ride until the door cracks and the windows start fading. Iphele ngokwayo. Not ukuthi careful. You know, it's keeper. When the shirt becomes transparent because you've worn it and washed it so much, you do that, Mr. OT, until the windows start becoming so thin that they're the size of nails, fingernails. You understand? And you know, this golden generation as well, kudos to Safa. These girls were also identified at a young age.
Yeah.
I think with Jermaine, now she said which she might be seen as a veteran, but I think she's just 28. And she's been in the national team. You understand? We have to give kudos to that. They were given a chance to grow without disturbance. There has been disturbance from outside, but it has not been as intense as Hugo Bros tried to do, Ethan Brooks, to have them grow into the Bafana national team and have them become prominent figures within the Bafana team, you know. So we have to give kudos to Coach Desiree to a point where, in as much as it's a negative, it's also a positive that she understands these players so much that she can change her position and say, you know what, I know you can do this. And they come out and they do it quite adequately, if I may. I mean, Nukumatlo. She was a striker, guys.
The top striker in Africa.
Center back. Right now, center back. But Nukuya retire. Aye, she remained at center back. And she went to center back because she had to replace someone who was retiring as well. Yabo. Now she's going to retire. At this rate, Boanabo Chenin might end up playing right back there. You understand? But honestly speaking, Mr. OT, we need some good teams to come into the to the fore. And Utolan is asking, why am I letting off Amasoweto Giants off the hook? Personally, there's a game I'm watching right now. I'm watching the hub of South African football. And I'm not saying this as a jab. Super sport is so important to our football, guys. It's not even funny. I'm watching Campbell, Mr. OT. If Vutiwe Lentwana, he's doing the job. Not manga. If Vutiwe Lentwana is doing so much, and I feel if we have Super Sport United coming into the ladies' sphere, then we can have some players, Mr. I saw a picture of a team Super Sport. I think it was under 15s or 12s back then. It had Utsepo Kumete, who's a current professional, former under 23. He's the underachiever in that picture, because in that picture you have Kamukhelo Mokojo, you have Ronan Williams. Those are real names, Mr. Uti, not Imanga. If the former ex-Cape Town can come to the fore into women's football, if we can have Super Sport come into women's football, we can have players. We can have players who are developed to be professional players. To be not only just professional players, but good and excellent professional players that can eventually be signed by Sundowns, you know?
Yeah.
We need that, Mr. Uti. And it's getting thinner and thinner. And like I said yesterday, I was trying to express that, unfortunately, you can get away with certain things. Oh. It's Lebogang gifting there.
Thank you, Lebogang.
I just lost my passion of thought. But anyway, I was just saying, Wuti, when you get to the top, Mr. Wuti, when you want to win Ama Olympics, Ama World Cup, you cannot only survive by one player. Right now, we are surviving by a few top quality players.
Yeah.
We need a team that has top quality players through and through.
Yeah.
When you watch France take Ama World Cup, you can try and argue because Mbappe is your favorite player. But in that team, you have Mbappe, you have Paul Pogba, you have Griezmann, you have Ruud, and they have the luxury to say to Benzema, we don't need you because you have scandals. At this point, even if Tembi Khatlane had like horrible things,
you have to play her.
You have to. Right now, South Africans are angry at Lyle Foster. But deep down, we are like, I Mahopa, I Boya Foster. You understand? So what I'm saying is that we need top quality players through and through. And just as a parting shot, I'm sorry. What killed Ibafana Bafana, I believe, is that the game became lucrative to our teams when we won that 96 AFCON. And I fear that even with the girls' game, it's becoming lucrative because why? A lot of teams are coming in, swooping our star players, taking them overseas. This, unfortunately, has the negative effect of us overpricing our players who are yet to develop, who are still potential. And unfortunately, they will remain a potential because they can't make their way to more competitive structures. You understand, Mr. Wick? But yeah, let me not labor the points too much.
Richie, very quickly, do you not just ride a golden generation until the wheels come off, man?
No, the engine at the end of the day is going to give up. But I want to agree with Abuti when he says, if it's not broken, don't fix. If it's still giving you results, don't fix. But remember, when as you say, remember this team has Abo Refilwe journey that started years ago.
Yeah.
So it must be like a generational thing, you understand? Let us also start and look for the next Refilwe journey and look for the next Nokomatlo and look for the next Jermaine, you understand? So that there can be continuity, because what I'm scared of, we're going to start at the bottom again when these wheels have now run off and the car is now standing still. Then we need to start then. Why don't we start now? And then once these guys are moving out, it will be easy for these youngsters that have come in to say, no, we are here to stay, we are taking over. You understand? I don't want to dwell on the Lyle Foster thing. We're celebrating the girls here, Abuti. Let's focus on the girls, because the girls are actually bringing the results.
Okay. Look, guys, the only thing I want to add is, I know we see Sundowns, and I know we see some of the teams that have come to the fore, but let's not forget the work that has been done in women's football by the UWCs, the TUTs, the University of Pretoria's, the Sasol teams, the JVWs, Janine van Beek's teams that don't have access to the money, but the love of the game is what has kept them up to now. Yes, we can applaud Sundowns and we can applaud, let's say, TS Galaxy for taking it to another level. But all in all, in a Hollywood Bet season, if I'm not mistaken, it costs you about 2 million Rand in order to run it. And a lot of these teams have been housing a lot. If you go to Tax, I know the Tax guys. If you go to Tax, there's teams upon teams upon teams of women's football that they have to make space on by scholarships, by trying all of those different things, because they just don't have the money like that to be able to do the bigger things, right? So I want us to also not look past those teams that have been struggling. Janine van Beek started a team while playing because she saw a gap. And while we may not see them going to World Champions League or whatever, that's where the new people are coming from, the Sasol leagues that have been running before. And my issue with when we speak about women's football and the teams taking part in it, remember, a lot of these teams outside of Sundowns and TS Galaxy, Royal AM has a team, or the top flight teams. Outside of them, all the other guys are finding shortcuts. Supersport does have a deal with ETUT. They call it TUT Matatanta. What extent does Supersport go into that program? We don't know. So they gave them a loophole out. But in any case, I just wanted to give them that. And I also want to give credit to Banyana Banyana. Throughout the years, throughout the struggles, throughout everything that has been happening, that has been the team that has held the flag up high. That is the team that we should be celebrating a lot more than we celebrate. The noise that we made for Bafana Bafana finishing third at AFCON was warranted. But we have a team that won a WAFCON. We have a team that are continental champions, right? So for me, that's why I'm like, let's also give Banyana Banyana the same love as I close. Let me see what questions. Why isn't the Soweto Giants having a ladies team? I don't know. But the other problem with South African football is that everybody has to do things by the good of their own heart. Mamelodi Sundowns saw a gap and they were like, guys, we can take this to the next level. Kudos to them. They took it to the next level. But the sad thing about our football is that until you force certain rules onto the teams, they're not going to do it. Kev tried to force them now. Kev tried to force them now. And what did they do? They went and signed partnership deals instead of starting teams of their own. So credit to the teams that are doing it without needing a push. Let me see. Malume Kutso, one last thing, very quickly. We need to move on to the next topic.
It's unfair that I also didn't mention JVW and the other teams about Darren ladies.
But Cruces ladies, the older ones. Hey, there's a lot of teams.
There's one that's I think from Bloemfontein that I think it's Roses or something. And I've seen it under 14, 12, 15, 17 such JVW. And one player that stood out to me, her name is Ushoti. I don't know her actual name. Ushoti, she's the captain, Mr. OT. Mr. OT, the kind of king, the persona. Bengba Rivera, Mr. OT, the way she's able to articulate herself to Urev respectfully but with command, it left me with a smile to a point where they thought with him Kampi, I must rev for them, but I was actually Kana King, impressed by most of those players, how they can be respectful but
Yeah.
still stand on the ground and still play good football. So I
Mm.
have to give it to JVW in that regard, Mr. Oti.
And then, guys, one last thing. Also, one last thing. It's not to compare them, Sfiso. Just one last thing. And I'm mentioning the teams that aren't Sundowns and TS Galaxy, not to diminish what Sundowns and TS Galaxy and Borale are doing. It's incredible. Guys, sometimes these ladies have to drive from wherever they come from. They can't even stay. They get here an hour before the game starts because they can't afford to travel the day before and book hotels and do all of that stuff. Play or eat, play, and then have to get back on a bus and drive back. Right? They have to do all of these things. And these are the teams that are running under 12s, 13s, 15s, as Malume Kuto said, under 17s, under 19s. So let's also give them credit that even without the money and the finances and all of that stuff, guys, they're teams that have been pushing. 80, 90% of them have been pushing to keep this. And it's really up to Bosafa and those guys to come in and really also look to make these things stable. Swart plays, Swart has a job. She has the 9 to 5 where she has to go work and then she can only train ka 6. National team goalkeeper. You know? So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. It's to do with the first thing we spoke about. I want us to speak about what entertains us in football and what we deem to be entertaining football. It comes from a conversation we had yesterday with the agent where he was speaking about how tactical football seems boring to us South Africans and how Amazulu may have had a plan versus Sundowns. So I want to gauge from us, Guti, guys, entertainment sithatha kuphi sibeka kuphi and then what is happening behind closed doors that we see, or not behind closed doors. Can South African football evolve to find those type of things a little bit more entertaining? Agent, I'm gonna let you start this off because this is a topic that we spoke about a lot yesterday and also in the group. What do you think about this idea of entertainment?
I think it was best maybe if I come in and respond than me starting, but it's okay. Because I think maybe I need to first understand what do we mean by boring football, you know? Can I injure you, please? Just allow me, just this once. You know, I never do this. I never do this. But can we say the Chiefs deserved to win on Sunday? They were the better side. They created goal scoring opportunities.
Okay.
You know? But the fact that they lost, we look back and say, but Chiefs was horrible. I don't want to raise this because on Monday because it was an emotional show. But on the day, you look at the tactics and like, hi man, hitting the ball 4 times, the crossbar 4 times. It means you don't do it by luck. It means somehow, somewhere, something good was done right. You know?
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like we are an emotional people. We is always the end justifies the means. As long as the team is winning, as long as a team scores, you know, and sometimes even you and I, sometimes you come here and analyze Sundowns or Chiefs and they've won and people are like, man, we're demanding too much.
Yeah.
You know, you as an Arsenal fan, you know this. Sometimes Arsenal plays good, beautiful football, but you're like, but what is it? You know, so I think for me, as long as there's a plan, I can see what you're doing. I can see the structure. I can see the build-up play, not necessarily, but I can see how you want to defend and how you want to attack, or one of the two.
Okay.
I see that as a good game. My problem comes in when maybe as a Chiefs, you do the same mistakes over and over again, or you don't have a plan. For me, that's when the game, I can say the game is boring. But otherwise, for me, the game is good.
Okay. No, I wanted to give you the intro, but then I wanted you, let me ask it like this. What is your idea? Just that last part. What is your idea of entertaining football? I'm going to start there.
Idea of an entertaining game is, can I see what is your plan when you're defending? Can I see your plan when you're trying of how you're trying to score? It doesn't matter the tactics or the nitty-gritties of it. As long as I can see there's a plan, there's a strategy, and it's being implemented, for me, that's a good game.
Okay. I'm going to bring in Sean. Sean, how are you, my brother?
My man, I'm happy. How are you?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Tell me, Sean, what is entertaining football to you?
You know, it's very interesting. I mean, yesterday, not yesterday, but this morning I was listening to the live that you guys had when you're watching two games at once. You guys, you can't share a screen when Sundowns is playing. You must give them your 100% attention.
Can't share when Banyana's playing. So I made a compromise.
No, they don't want to. Yeah, let me not go there. But my thing is, looking at the let's start with the Kaizer Chiefs and Milford game.
Okay.
Entertaining football is watching Milford build from the back, and this is what they did right, that a lot of teams in the PSL are failing to do. At some point, Kaizer Chiefs are failing to do this. Sekhukhune stopped doing it. Swallows were horrible at it. If you look at how, well, number one, they have a goalkeeper who can play from the back. I mean, he made that pass that breaks the line that Ronwen always does, and I'm like, yeah, now I see that he watches football. You had the defenders who would receive the ball and they know exactly how to open up their bodies to, number one, invite the press, because one thing those players can do is they are very press resistant. You understand? They know how to turn, they know how to beat the player with just moving into space, or how to trap the ball to beat the player. The only problem was when you get to the midfield, how do I leave the midfield? Which is now going to the Sundowns game. That first half, again, I listened to what you guys were saying, and there were people that were saying, "Oh, that first half was very boring," and I was like, "Yeah, no, how you watch football is very different." Excuse me. Yeah, no. I was watching that game, and then load shedding happened, and I was happy. The Super Sport is playing things I don't understand, but anyway. So that Sundowns game in the first half, there was a masterclass in how to break a low block, especially in the sense of how Mamelodi Sundowns plays very narrow, and you could see sometimes in the second half when they showed the entire pitch how narrow how narrow Sundowns really played, and how we forced Amazulu to take up the position that we were taking. So they were not exploring the spaces that they had. They had no output whatsoever. You see. So what happened in that game was, and I mentioned it, I think it was last year or early this year. It was last year, that what Sundowns tries to do is always, when they talk about width, they talk about in 13 and 14, like the corners of the 18. A lot of they play came from those corners. I mean, the first goal by Ribeiro, they made a pass at that corner to find Serino. Serino took a shot. It came back. He finished it.
Yeah.
The second goal, Ribeiro, from Maboe. It came from a pass that went through the centre backs. I mean, you're playing with 3 centre backs and you're failing to defend that space. That's crazy. You understand? So the way Sundowns was playing, even sitting on the board, I mean, at some point I saw 5 players jump the line from Amazulu to go and press, but then you had Ronwen there to make it 6 on 5, or at any point to make it 5 at 4, 5v4. And that to me is enjoying a game of football. The goals will come. I mean, you have different fans. To some fans, scoring goals is very important. They want to watch a game. I mean, if you look at this guy, what's his name? From Idiski Times, Nkululeko. They like goals. They like goals. They don't care whether there's excitement in the game, whether they what the tactics are, what one team is doing. They don't care, as long as there are goals in a game. They are happy, But for others, it's really those small little things, man. I mean, if you watch the way that the things the Zungu was doing yesterday, it's crazy. I mean, he was playing 3 positions yesterday.
Okay.
At that time, you didn't have Allende, you didn't have Zwane.
You know, the only player, we saw what Divine Dunga was doing. The only player yesterday that had a bad game is Mokoena. Not really a bad game, but an okay game. You know, he will get the rhythm back. You see, so good football is those type of things. You watch Mbule come on, and the arrogance of Mbule on the ball is crazy. You know, so if like the previous speaker said, if I can see what you're trying to do, which is okay, fine. Milford is trying to build from the back. How are they doing it? What are the schemes? Do they know how to do it? Oh, they tried, but then they failed. I mean, if you look at what they did to Kaizer Chiefs, why couldn't Kaizer Chiefs attack through the middle? They always had to go wide. You're trying to put in a cross for Dupree. For what reason? You understand what I mean? And then when you're not winning the game, you try and put in Mfundo Vilagazi. But yeah, that's a different story. So for me, that is entertaining football. You know, when tactics make another coach not want to play football.
And I think I'll speak about my definition after. Let me go to Ustomi. Stomi, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Hola, sharp fere.
I'm right, man. Stomi, tell me, mangiti entertaining football. When we describe kanjani for you?
Oh, all right. OT, firstly, mna xa ndithetha nge-entertaining football, one, ndifuna an identity yeteam yoba idlala njani. Secondly, i-players ezidlala kwi-team, are the players comfortable on the ball? Secondly, i-players ezithathwa yi-team are the players that are willing to listen each and every detail as a coach ebanika zona as an instruction uba igame izawudlala kanjani. Thirdly, i-defense yakho is very good kanjani, iyakwazi uziwina ii-duels, they can defend kakuhle, and the defenders are comfortable on the ball, because I tend to believe when defenders should be comfortable on the ball, so that it would be so easy to screen, to turn yonke loo nto as a defender. Secondly, when you go to i-midfielder xa uzokhona umntu azodlala as a holding number 6, lo mntu still is comfortable on the ball.
Yeah.
Is good in playing the role ka number 6, a defensive player.
Yeah.
Secondly, players adlala nazo are good to break the lines. Is there any player that is good in carrying the ball going forward? Secondly, team idlala as a team na okanye sidlala laa nto ye-individuals performance abantu bafuna ubukwa, because uyazi abantu they don't understand uba when you say nine team, you need to play as a team niyibonakalise loo nto, not the selfishness siyibonayo. Because I can tell you one thing, mna ibona ko-Kaizer Chiefs nabo Orlando Pirates, abantu ke ndiyayazi abazoyithanda le nyani zayithetha. Funeka abantu bakhe bazibuze, when was the last time sibona i-tap-ins zisikora kwezi teams? Everyone ufuna iglory, everyone wants to score. Uyabona ke ndiyiqaphela kakhulu, more special for Kaizer Chiefs. Uyabona abasayile benu naba-Duprees, these are very good players, but khona into ezingakayifundiswa, i-selfishness. Uba uba selfish funeka ubeke ecaleni, ube selfless as a player, playing as a team. When there's a space to pass the ball, no kuthiwa ubujonge nokhipha kanjani, when khona umuntu who can score a goal very easy, you give that person a ball. So these are things I think entertaining football is. Second, enye point endifuna entertainer kwento endifuna uyi-edda kwezi points is that xa uzodlala entertaining football funeka wazi into yoba if uyi-team efuna upressa, supressa on certain games. Loo nto yopressa yiba yinto oyenza daily, so that izoba easy to be installed ezintlokweni zee-players. Because you'll find out i-Pirates is very good on pressing xa idlala ne-Sundowns. Uyinike mayidlale nenye team singayiboni le pressing. So such installation iyanideka kwi-players to understand uba isebenza kanjani le nto. Yabona uthi ndiza kunika one thing, u-Arteta ngoba ebeke wasebenza noPep, there was a game apha i-Arsenal iluza ngo-3-1 we see it. I think Kevin was scored 2 goals no game.
Mm.
Arteta came with la mentality uyayazi pressing. Uzakwazi upressa kwi-Man City xa bezama ustarta from the back.
Mm.
But one of the things uPepe was aware ngayo is that nomuntu uyayazi loo nto uba ndiyakwazi udlala kanjena.
Mm.
uPepe ngumntu kosama ozama ijonga iindlela zodlala. He practices into yoba when I'm playing a team that is ezakwazi undipressa with the ball, mazame indlela ndiphuma kanjani eback. Ndifuna uzokuyojonga le game thetha ngayo iMan City sithi iArsenal ngo-3-1.
Yeah.
Ndifuna ujonga apho uyijonga uba yayiphume kanjani eback apho Jesus bepressa kakhulu befuna uyolanda ibhola apho uKevin escore ibhola engapha ko-18 ibhola isuke yaya kuWalker yangena kuStones mayifaka ngaphakathi yabuyela kuHaaland uHaaland wayinika uKevin uzuke i-chance uyojonga apho. So enye izinto mna sendisitsho uba when xa uthetha nge-entertaining football it should be into esiyazi uba le nto you are consistent on doing it.
Yeah.
Singathi it's entertaining when it suits you ngaloo mini ngenye imini isikhumba. So an identity of a team is very important. Kulapho sizifunda khona i-team badlala kanjani.
Okay, for time, let me just bring in Lebza. Lebza, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, my good sir. Today I won't be saying anything that requires over 18, so I'll stay clean.
Lebza, tell me, what do you, when I say entertaining football, what do you define as being entertaining for you?
I just want to give 2 examples, just to clarify.
Under 18, I get.
Yeah. So, number 1, the year where Middendorp was number 1 the whole season, and we came back to win it on the last day. Chiefs was winning, but they were not entertaining. Even the fans themselves would agree that they were not entertaining. They were playing helicopter football and hoping to score. They had tactics that they were applying. They had a way that they were playing that they wanted to win games by. Their game was not entertaining. He held on to that position for the entire season. He got fired at the end despite having given Sundowns a run for their money. He got the results, which if the analogy that we've been listening to applied, that would have been entertaining on its own, and people wouldn't have complained and he wouldn't have been fired. But he was fired because the football that he was playing was dead. It wasn't entertaining at all. And then now we come to the team that is like very, very important right now. Like continentally, it's feared by every team. You know why Sundowns is feared by everyone? Because when they hold on to the ball and they attack, regardless of whether you are, regardless of how you are defending with a low block, with whatever, we know that somehow Sundowns is going to find the back of the net and they're going to do it in an attractive way. Mshishi is going to be hitting the shibobos there. He's going to be those short passes, you know, the nice ones where they're playing triangles around other players at the back. You see Ronwen Williams just passing, even when he's under pressure, just passing between players, and you're like, oh my word, what is this? You feel that adrenaline rush watching it. You see the danger, but they're handling the danger so perfectly. You're like, this is what I want to see, the confidence, the way of passing that we play at the back even, not afraid of conceding goals. To me, that is total football. Not even rushing to shoot when we get to the final third, just opening up spaces, you know. The way Downs plays at times, man, like you just can't help but be in awe of the beauty of the football that we play. So to me, that is entertaining. The game that we played yesterday, first half was not as good. It wasn't as entertaining. Second half, there was an attempt to make it entertaining because then Amazulu also came out after conceding 2 goals. They tried playing, and we could see now the football that we've become accustomed to. I mean, a game does not need to have goals to be entertaining. It's just that the quality of football has to say to you, hey, watch me, bruh, watch me. I'm this good. You don't have to force yourself to watch it just for the sake of supporting South African football. It just draws you and your attention to watch it. That's all I'm saying.
Let me bring in Malume Kutsu. Malume Kutsu, tell me, what do you think entertaining football for you? If your definition of entertaining football, what would that be if I asked you?
Hey, Mr. Uti, Rasha, no more. We know the truth, guys. We know which some games are boring. Whether we enjoy tactics or not, but sometimes, yeah, power my tactics. They are moving as a block, as a unit. Maria Kenya, you're watching it like, yo. Mr. Uti, at the risk of being judged, sometimes I watch Man City. And I'll just end up with TikTok and just enjoying TikTok. And when a team is entertaining, Mr. OT, they will have a nickname. I will ask Pirates fans, which the double treble champs, what were they called? I don't know. They were winning. It's nice. But if I take it to Costa Papic, that's where we got the name Happy People. We were happy. Around in the league. Mara, we were happy. We were there. Cheese boy, what do Makanya? Mr. Uchi, what nickname got them home queen? I like with them home queen.
Yeah.
What nickname got them home queen?
I can see.
Ayo. We know these things. Maybe he's also a few or something. I like him personally. Mara, hakiboka tugutugu makanya, cheese boy mukwena, Benedict the Napoleons of Vilagazi. Uyazi, take omlisene navigator, good. Pass bamika makama 8,000, because many years are to shuffle the pack. Now we ask with Sambanabo, man.
Mwana watswenya.
Mr. OT. You understand? Stenson sticker Fredericks. Others were the 10-1-1. We are enjoying. You're not forcing yourself. But sometimes, Mr. OT, when Mshishi is on the ball, that's when you get to enjoy the ball. The game. You know, when Mshishi, we are in the enzyme. Bayashele to pull a matola abantu. The others, Rivero is scoring, but I don't even know which. Can you take on players umnandi now? The system, that's where we congratulate coaching him nandi. But Umbule when he comes in, Sundowns supporters. When Mbule comes in, we are one with Master Chef. We are here to Mr. Uti. Umnandi Umbule. Umnandi Utena Ngabu. Abone Omaya Mupili. We are one with Lily player live. As Eden Hazard captured it nicely, he said, Haaland, he scores. But you don't pay to go and watch Haaland. You want to watch Bernardo Silva, Achigamato, Tawalakela Pants. You understand, Mr. Uti? Yes, Kumnandi. We can say our tactics are important. You win. You have to be business-like. But Mr. Oti, you will watch Real Madrid because we ask
Vinicius Junior.
You are anticipating a game to say, what is Vini gonna do against Kyle Walker? We understand that, Mr. Oti. So the entertainment is there, and people are mentioning Usela Mutau, and I've always said, if you've been on this platform before, I said Umutau is exactly like Ukuni. Very entertaining to watch. Very flamboyant in how they do their work. So if you mention Usaila, I've already covered that. He entertains me, Nami. We know what is entertaining when you are watching football, Mr. You see this thing? You can't lie about it. It's biological. Kind of thing. The endorphins, the hormones will be released. You will smile alone watching someone do it. When I talk about hip hop, Mr. OT, hip hop in our Caspanyo vest, in our Stogiti. Those who like hip hop will tell you, hey, yeah, Mr. Ogiti, how he laces the verses. But the general public wanna sing Tokshibeleza. You know what this thing of I can't understand the reservation. We just wanna sing Tokshibeleza. Humunati. Would you AKA keep saying Coca-Cola melanin every day? We will say it every day. Astadava. Which in every song he will tell you sweet melanin Coca-Cola. One line. Rest in peace, AKA. Astadava. We want to sing those cheesy lines. That's what we're enjoying. So this thing of saying And here, this one, yeah, I'm sorry. Can I just talk and say this thing of saying Sundowns players are playing three positions at once? Mr. OT, I'm a functions with left back. I wanted to ask you, but for a time, I will just answer myself. We know a left back should be pushing down the line, Fagama crosses. We know most defender, a left back should be defending. If it's on his side, he should be playing the left side. If it's on the right hand side, he should be tucking in as a centre back. We all know those things. It's not three positions at once. It's his functions. And we know with his six, idlala kanjani. Just because it's a team there, it looks like it's a centre back. We can't fall into the trap. We are too measured. And I mean, I'm disappointed in coaches when they don't know which Uzungu, he might be there as a centre back. But he's a six. Udlala six Uzungu. Singaza asize ngani ngani, udlala six. His functions, if you describe him to anyone, he's a six. And guys, if you're disappointed, it's fine. I'm just being honest. Thank you,
For
Mr.
time's sake. Thank you, Manobe. So PK, welcome to the show. How are you?
Okay, sure.
PK, tell me, if I were to ask you, or I'm asking you, what is entertaining football to you? What would you say to me?
Entertaining football, my brother, it's a competitive football where you dominate from any element, and that makes you separate from other players to a point whereby even if you meet a football player who is in a lower level, he looks up to you and say, I want to be like you. And I want to qualify this thing, OT. We have been watching Kasi flavor football, and we as a country, we have suffered. Why? Because we have looked unto European sites for football, and we viewed it as entertaining. But the moment we start to grow as a country and bring people from outside to be competitive in our league, then that's entertaining football. Philosophically, structurally, be able to say, there is a country called South Africa. We can go and scout players in that country. There is a league that we can play with. And this is just some. We need to grow. We need to grow as South African. Growth is entertaining. You overcoming obstacles of things that never been achieved. It's entertaining. For me, see a team transforming other players from the status of philosophy to the status of competing in African teams and later representing the country in a way that we are not hey man khale re nyatswa man OT khale re nyatswa and re khalimela lenyatso by Banyana Banyana Bafana we are becoming entertaining football. Someone somewhere must ask, where are these players coming from? And when they ask that, they must ask to say, where are they playing? Because we can't all the time think that achievement is through Europe. We can't. We need to grow as a country. And I am a Sundowns fan, correct. Let me put my bias aside.
Yeah.
I'm saying for the fact that we are playing what we are playing and we are recognized in African continent, soon, if we continue like this, if we go to South America, wherever you go to Argentina and you talk about South African football, the first team that will come to mind is, okay, there is Sundowns. That team is, I am fascinated how about African players have been speaking about Sundowns and the tactics of Sundowns and how dangerous Sundowns. At least for a moment, we put our foot down and we say, we have a talent. If I am playing a smaller division or a lower division, it must say, I want to up my game to a level of the team that is has philosophy. The team, how do you make a difference between a team that is in a lower division that both scout or larking and a loena as a senior what difference is that? We must go to football, yes, and be entertained according to its context. But when we are getting in PSL, we must understand that these players in PSL are representing the country. And what is a professional football? We cannot all the time go into World Cup after winning the CAF, and we can't even compete. We can't do that. Yes, we have that style of play. Maybe let's talk about style of play. Where we have South African philosophy. We know Brazil have their philosophy. We know Germany have their philosophy. What is the philosophy of South Africa? Oka pala mabolo ko wena ko World Cup. Opala me bolo mo ko- It's a yellow card. So you can't bend the rules of football, yet you call it entertain. You can't. Yeah. Thank you, my brother.
Okay, no, I've heard the brothers speak. Let me give my opinion before I go back to the brothers. My opinion of entertaining football for me is watching two teams question and answer each other. And it's watching teams that are going up against each other that are learning while they are playing. The reason why I didn't find Amazulu Sundowns a learning experience or entertaining was that we were watching Sundowns, well drilled as usual, come in and hit another team and hit another team and hit another team, go 2-0 up, and then the other team wanted to answer questions. You know, I love watching Sundowns in CAF because you see them go back and forth. Hey, Rulani's done something, the other coach does something else, then he comes back and he does something because he's replying, then the other one. It shows you a mastery of the team that you have, and it shows you a mastery of the game. I watch a lot of American sports, guys. I watch American sports because a lot of the time, it's not as free-flowing. So when two teams go up against each other, it's two philosophies, but also it's two guys that have to read and learn what they're doing. I didn't like Kaizer Chiefs versus the Milford. And I said during the match, for me, it's not even about the win. You can hit the crossbar 4 times. Yeah, great, right? But for my coach to come out at the end of the game and say, oh yeah, by the way, I only put in this player just for fresh legs. There was no technical reason why I put him in. There was no question I was answering. I just thought to myself, I need an extra person on this game. Now to Katele lawyer, I put him in. You watch our coaches make the same mistakes every game. Lomuntu, you put him on the left-hand side. He's been useless on the left-hand side for 3 games. We saw a game where he drifted inside and he looked really good for 10 minutes. Why aren't you doing those things more often? When you speak about the chances that Chiefs created, for example, is it coming from a repetitive plan that they had, that they saw? Or was it crossbar? Oh, did they repeat the thing again? Did we see the ball come from Saile the same way to Breeze again during the game? So my view of entertaining football is that, guys, we've got 2 teams on the pitch. And maybe, I know, I didn't go to professional football or whatever, but I was the type of player who'd go, you're not going to beat me 3 times at the same thing. Because we're going to change, we're going to switch up, we're going to adapt, we're going to move. I'm not going to watch Sundowns come at me and 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 come at me, and I don't even have a plan of how to move. And it's not to say that every team has to play shoeshine and piano, or every team has to play helicopter, every team has to be defensive. What I love about what Sundowns is at right now, and some of the Pirates teams, and Supersport, for example, is that they looked at their team and they said, okay, I could cry about not having Esquivel, who costs 50 million. I could cry about it. Or I could look at my team and say, how can I set these guys up to be effective? And then when you get into the game and you see that they're not effective, how can I set them up to change? Right? How can I make sure? You know, again, I will reference Sundowns again. Guys, they're well drilled. You can say that. They're well drilled. I said in the beginning of the season, I don't think the chameleon is that hard to figure out. But what I can tell you is that they're well drilled. You see certain movements over and over again to tell you that, okay, we've planned. Then you see different movements versus certain teams because you can tell that they went behind the scenes and they sat down and they thought, okay, how do I play this team today? Right? How many PSL coaches, how many PSL teams do we watch where, "Aguna plan, guys"? You can predict the sub, 65th minute. We always joke about it here. 65 minutes, and it's not going to change how they play. Chiefs has played the same setup for the past 3 years. And it doesn't matter which player's on the pitch. It doesn't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter if they reply to anything. So for me, entertaining football is watching two teams go, okay, you're doing this to me today. Doesn't mean so. What do I always complain about? Imagine, remember Steve Compella was saying that, no, he's trying to teach this team how to play out from the back. You have just conceded 4-5 goals playing out from the back. And even that playing out from the back, you didn't even tweak it to say, I saw something wrong. Let's play out a different way. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat. Play it out the exact same way, calling it modern football. He's trying to teach the teams. Watch Sundowns. If one way is not working, they go the other way. If another way is not working, they do this. If we can't play through, you guys will play over. If we need to play on the wings, we'll go to the wings. If we need to do this, they're well drilled. That's entertaining. But I can't just watch Sundowns. I loved what Agent and Nushon were speaking about. You guys had mentioned Sundowns over and over and over again, which is great if you're just watching Sundowns. But there was another team on the pitch that didn't do anything. Really, in the first half particularly, they didn't do anything. They've got literally 176 passes over a 90-minute game, and most of those passes came in the second half. So what did they come to do outside of defend, concede, maybe try fight afterwards, then go home? Then the next team they play, Sundowns, will defend, concede, and then go home. But anyway, Agent, you've heard what everybody said. I know we want to get deep into it, but I need a minute. What have you heard here? Has it changed what you thought of? What's your response to what you've heard the brothers say?
Because you're giving me a minute, I'll let go of the Amazulu thing. Because of that, for a minute. But I wanted to ask you a question on Amazulu, but I'll let it slide. But I think let me first defend Abuti Kudzo. You know, people know he's not my favorite person in the world because of the team that he supports. You know, but the question was, what is entertaining football? That was the question. Unless if you asked what is entertaining in a professional sense, you know, what is entertaining to him? And I think, let's not pretend, he is speaking on behalf of most South Africans. The reason why there's a trend of Ishibobo trends than a goal by Ribeiro is because people have that affinity towards a Kasi flavor, you know? That's what we like as South Africans. I call it the South African curse, you know? Old John was not Old John, but I'm forgetting this Pirates winger, fullback. You know, he had a way of progressing the ball while this was dreadlocked. I'm forgetting the name.
Oh,
you know?
Sailor Shabalal.
Sailor, you know, people liked that. You know, so that's what people are, like. Traditionally, South Africans we love Kasi flavor, but for me, excuse me. Let me put it this way. I think I'm gonna quote Martin Luther King. He said, if I'm called to be a street sweeper, you know, not all of us to be mathematicians, teachers, engineers, or what. Abuti Kutsu he says he's a ball driver. Be the best ball driver you can be. You know, that's all I'm ever gonna ask from you. You know, Martin Luther King says, if you're called to be a street sweeper, you know, sweep streets so much that you are like a Shakespeare or whoever composing whatever is composing, you know, sweep streets so well that people say, yeah, man, this is the best street sweeper that I've seen, you know. So for me, if I see mastering in what you do, whether it's defensive or not, I like Middendorf's style of play because it was entertaining for him because I could see the mastery behind it.
Yes.
You know? That's what I enjoy, you know?
And just quickly, we didn't, the reason why we didn't like Middendorf to the end, or at least for me, was that now they found you out. What do you do after that? But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where he got it wrong. Like, you know, like I say, answers and questions and answers. You know, are you able to respond as a coach? There's a master in that, you know. I personally like Man City because I can see the lines move. I can see the 4-4-2. They play 4-4-2. Like, it's super difficult to see a straight line of 4-4-2. Super difficult, you know. But others like Klopp's heavy metal. You know, for me, it's too chaotic, you know. But lastly, to your question also, to respond to you, because I think I've responded to others.
Yeah.
you know a person called Muhammad Ali, right?
Mm.
You know his favorite quote, fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Mm.
Do you know what he was doing in the ring when he was doing that? You know, he was
Rope it
float.
dope.
You know,
But
like
anyway,
but a person was doing what was hitting him. Eh? He was standing there dodging. That is the essence of defensive football played by the likes of Amazulu. The plan is I just want to dodge, and sting out of nowhere. The only problem with that strategy is if someone catches you, you're in trouble. You know, that's why when Sundowns scores and we've been defending, we're in trouble. You know, the whole premise of it is I'm gonna duck all the punches, and I'll sting. But if the person catches you, then you are forced to react to that. You become reactive, and people don't like that. And
Hey, a
sometimes
minute,
people
agent.
okay. But people always say, why do you always attack after you have conceded? It is logical because the plan was, I'm gonna duck all the punches and I'll attack. But because someone has hit me now, I should change strategy. You can't start with that. Even Sundowns, you always say Sundowns has the ability to throw in the kitchen sink. Why can't Sundowns throw in the kitchen sink at the beginning? So it's logical for me. So yeah.
Okay, no, I hear you. I just want to say quickly, I think for me, Muhammad Ali had a plan to win the fight. I don't think Amazulu had a plan to win the fight. He was only rope-a-doping. He was rope-a-doping because he understood that the other guy gets tired later on. So if I let him swing, he gets tired quicker. Then when I've got him, I open. And that was the one fight versus Liston, I think. Other fights, it was a different strategy to win. Amazulu, you can look at the record, as much as we like to give them.
Amazulu was threatening in the first half more than Sundowns.
Were they?
Yes. The three cutback crosses that they put in were more dangerous than anything Sundowns did on the half.
But Sundowns have a plan. Sundowns can.
Amazulu has a plan also.
No, but we've said this from the beginning of the season. Sundowns will let you have this Sundowns. You'll get chances, but they understand that, guys, we just need to score 1 or 2 goals and we go home. Last year, Sundowns was trying to burn down doors and hit you with 6 and not until we did. But he made a plan. That's why I'm like, Sundowns goes into this game planning to win. I don't think Amazulu, but anyway.
It's a conversation that we've been having for months now, so it won't end now.
Let me go to Sean. Sean, please, let's do a minute, guys. Sorry. Let's do a minute. No. I'm going over. What is your response to what you heard from the brothers?
Takutsu is treating us like the way Jessica treats Kaizer Chiefs fans. No, yes, finesse. He's handling us. No, I'm kidding. No, I think it is, guys. It is entertaining football. I mean, if you look at where else do you see a goalkeeper that knows how to make a through ball in the middle when he's being pressed to find an 8? If that's not exciting, because me, I don't know what exciting is. And one thing I agree with him is, when you go watch Man City, you want to watch what Bernardo Silva is going to do. Okay, you want to watch the kind of passes that are going to come from Kevin De Bruyne. But at the end of the day, it has to be allowed by the system to flourish. You understand? Because if you look at what's happening at Pirates, for example, Saleng is not playing, and Saleng should be playing. You understand? Saleng should be playing. If because the way they're trying to play allows Saleng to play, but because the guy doesn't, I don't know what's going on there. Saleng is not playing. They want Tito to play as a 10, but Tito is not a 10. You understand? That's what comes in between occupying a position on a field and actually knowing how that position functions in order for you to play and help the team. Right? So if you see a Zungu as a register, you know exactly what he's trying to do. You know who he's going to try and find. Right? He's looking to javelin the ball. He's looking to play it right. He's looking for the throw in the middle, because Sundowns is making more good passes than any other team in the past, in this season and last season.
Okay.
Right? Which is in South African football, to find those kind of passes. If you look at when Maboe plays, what Maboe tries to do with those passes. I mean, in the game that we played against, what team was it? The one that we beat? No, but it was an NFD team. You understand? So it doesn't really, matter. But also when you look at the hat trick that Ribeiro scored, when last did you see a person pass a ball in the back of the net to score a hat trick?
Mm.
All those goals, he passed the ball in the back of the net. He's been passing the ball into the back of the net since the season started.
Mm.
You understand what I mean? Like to some people, that is entertaining because the calmness that he has, the technique that he uses. You understand? When Zungu gets into the 8th position, you know for a fact he's going to be the last one to arrive into the post because he's going to delay his run.
Mm.
You understand? So there's a function in a position and there's an occupation in a position that
Okay.
makes the difference between a person who knows how to play in more than one position
time.
within a game. Yeah, no, bye bye guys. It was nice talking to you.
Guys, before I go to Stormy, can I just defend Malube Kutso too? And maybe you don't meet this point, but I think what we're forgetting is that even during Kasi football, we grew up Kasi football where there's 1 or 2 really skillful players and everybody else is playing their position to their fullest. When Chabu Pule was on fire, you forget that there's Bob Patrick Mabedi at the back. When Yeye was laying up passes, there was Unengomasha, let's say, behind him. There was a balance. And I think when we say Kasi football, a lot of the time, we forget that there's a mastery behind that 4-4-2 that was being played. And there was other players that were doing different jobs. But I just wanted to add that it's not just all uktribula. I think we cheapen what the other guys do. Stormy, got a minute? Tell me, how do you respond to the brothers?
The followers are coach. Izama ku abut. Ebona abut uthi abeka bekurefli. Ebona abantu abaqala urefli Phillies game. Entertainment football le. Asithetha ke entertainment football. No, uyazi uthi mna kastadi mna ndine problem ngale Kasi football. As a result, i-Phillies game, I once watched it ndibukela igame yanye ndayitshintsha yonke loo nto. Abantu abaguqa ngamadolo phezu kwebhola. Yazi ezi player nithetha ngazo into ezifana nozikhwama. Hayi, mna such football ayindawo leya. That is why nangoku for so many years i-football yethu has struggled because i-players that were looked to zii-player beziphuma kokasi, ziphuma kabogomora bosoweto ikase ii-players iindawo ezaziwayo. But uma usiva ufumane ujonga ii-players kukhona indawo singayiyo soscouta khona ke siyobona ii-players not
Okay.
le bhola yasekasi because we all think ibhola le yasekasi and funeka sibukele ezaa nto zifana ne-Phillies game and ezi nicknames asoze zise anywhere.
Okay. No, Stormy, thank you so much, Stormy. Again, guys, I feel like the Kasi football of today versus the old Kasi football, I think it's 2 different things. Tina, best good senza lezinto when it's 3-0. Corner out be pension number 11 usually would come in and it'd be the entertainment for the crowd. But for most of the game, we were solid. But anyway, PK, you've got a minute. Tell me your response to what the brothers have said.
Yes, no, my brother, I think, like I said earlier, entertainment have its own explanation in its own context. So yeah, I am what Abdul Kuto have said. It's his own context, and we must respect it. But my biggest part was, is this really football? Is this really football? But above everything, I'm just saying there is a standard. You see, we used to go to these village schools, ne? And there was no worry until we go to universities where you realize there is something called computer. And you are sitting next to kids that are excelling and you feel out of place. I'm making this example in parallels with what South African football have been.
Yeah.
We get into African Cup of Nations, whatever, these big tournaments, and we feel out of place because we are used to a certain football that doesn't reach a standard. Now I'm saying, let us not fix, and this thing is universal, OT. This thing of thinking that the Europe, I guess there is no European here. This thing of thinking that Europeans are the best and we are minority. It goes all along in life. You get to the office, you find a white person, you can't express yourself because you are not taught confidence. For the first time, I'm saying we are not even scared to play Nigeria. I'm not scared of any African team at this moment because we stood up for ourselves. We are responding to the criteria of football. And for me, in my context, that's entertaining. At least we are going somewhere. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, PK. And just to add on, I think what I loved most about what Hugo Bruce said, Hugo Bruce didn't say, there was the press conference where they asked him, and he said, I don't think, I'm paraphrasing, he didn't say that we must change everything. He said, there's certain things that we need to change. Otherwise, how we play is strong. To make how we play stronger. There's certain things you need to cut out, unnecessary things. And I don't think Uguma Pezwe Pola is automatically unnecessary, right? Those things have its role. I spoke about how, for example, Uko Chwami used to say, your first move, under 17, I will never forget, he said, your first move, shy defender ngespaitu. He will never mark you the same way. I think the only difference is that you have to have a goal in mind with why you are doing something. That's the only thing. And even some of our most beautiful modern football, if you're passing around the ball and it's not doing anything, fana as much as ukibeli pola because you're not getting anywhere. Manamekuto, a lot of people mentioned you, so I'm gonna let you finish off.
Hi, Mr. OT. This is sad. You know, people have their own demons in the closet, and they want you to represent their demons. Unfortunately, I'm not here to do that. Therapy, guys, I can recommend therapy so that people deal with their demons. I come here, I mentioned Haaland versus Bernardo Silva. When you go and talk about Kwama Samatariana, are you well? Are you well in your mind? I talk about Vinny Jr. being entertaining. When you come here and tell me you're watching for this game, how does that balance? You have your own problems as a human being because being black and being from the cast, it troubles you. Yeah, I understand. Me, now I'm telling you what entertains me, and I'm citing European players who do it at the highest level, and you come and contradict that by talking about the youngest players somewhere kana kimangbo kila mapoto. What is that? I mean, I'm talking about high-end players. I mentioned Mshishi. I also mentioned kana kimangkuliso Mutau. People want to go and mention these funny players who do stuff that I don't know. I think when we talk about Kasi football, it's important that someone places their age first so that we understand which Kasi football are you talking about. Because this young generation thinks Kasi football is it's clownery and second. Rona, the players I mentioned, have you seen Uchabupula Kibeli Pola, Mr. Utiama Ngekanda Pesgo Pola Shama Amatol? He's known as one of us for eliminating players, leaving players eating dust. Stiga Federics, 10 triple one. These are not players who go around doing funny, useless things. Abum Shishi one. And people come here and tell me about Kwama. I don't find Kwama entertaining. I found him as a clown. I would put a red nose there on him, and respectfully even, with the things he does.
Exactly.
Me now I'm talking about if football a proper. Not this thing of clown. I'm talking about taking on Umuntu, letting a player express, letting a player show you his artistic side. Let me use players maybe that they will understand. I find Sergio Busquets very entertaining. Zoqeda Sergio Busquets. Uzoyehlisa Mr. Uti. You uzoyisola ukuthi upreseleni. Sergio Busquets, and that is entertaining. When we talk about Dr. Khumalo, something that your coach mentioned, this was mentioned by Clive Parker. He used to say, Dr. Khumalo, make a statement. First minute against Argentina, make a statement so that they know. We used to play against these teams and go pound for pound. And the trick was that immediately when the legendary Dr. Khumalo got on the ball, he would send a very clear message, you press me next time, you will regret. And that is very entertaining. That is why till today, when you ask Ama fans in Chelsea, who's one of the best players we've ever watched, even though Frank Lampard, my favorite player, has done so much for the team, they will easily say Eden Hazard.
Yeah.
Because Hazard, he was mopping the floor side to side. And there's another player who people love, I'm sure you're one of those who people love, who didn't really give as much to football, but he was very entertaining. Mesut Ozil, when he did what he did, you would be entertained and be like, yeah. I would say I dlala ball. This guy is doing something that I can't do. You understand? You sit there. Shoot you usathi upress phone, uhlale phansi uthi hayi. La awuyayenza lento. Aqeda ngobe when you ask who's the best striker, you ask professional people ask this, Mr. Witty, I know you said time. Who's the best striker you've watched? People will go and say R9. Ahead of Abo Messi, and Messi is very entertaining. Ahead of Abo Ronaldo, who are also very entertaining. They will go to R9 because you know what R9 would do? He would sit the goalkeeper down and tap that ball in. You understand? Someone is mentioning Ronaldinho. Is inja? Someone who Mofiga Stadium, Mr. OT, you know, as his last example, Mofiga Stadium, you are late, you are looking for tickets. And they tell you which Ronaldinho Sega Khalil. And ticket 20 rand. You're like,
That's my goat. Yeah.
Because you know what Ronaldinho is doing in there. He's doing it with a smile. Mr. OT, Real Madrid, Yasuguma, Real Madrid fans, Basuguma Bashai Zanja, but we are better. Where have you seen that? But we are better. Because why? He was entertained, and you can't lie with entertainment. No more. Thank you,
Okay. Thank you, Malume Kutso. Yeah, again, I think for me, that's why I say that the chat for me is weird when we speak about skill and stuff, because I still genuinely believe that you can upgrade what we have to make it competitive at an international level. And the reason why I keep saying it is because if I've been dribbling since all of my football up until I was 18, and you have somebody else who's been playing tika-taka up until I was 18, if you try to teach me tika-taka at the end of the day, I'm not going to get there. And I also want us to look back on those big teams that were very skillful, but they were, Jabupule was, even if Nashele like a Paul and saying all that stuff, it was 5-0 in a Coca-Cola Cup final. You get what I mean? Not a random game, manje, we're doing things for nothing. For me, that ranks the same as having 80% possession in one shot, maybe. You've done nothing throughout the game. So let's look at those type of things. Anyway, guys, I'm way over my time. I am sorry for going a bit over and not giving this thing time. I may bring it back tomorrow so more people can jump in and we can interact a bit more. But thank you guys so much for joining me. If you have not followed, please follow. These are the conversations we have on this here show. So please join me Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m. Also Fridays, 12:30 in the afternoon. And then, the other episodes are available on Facebook and on YouTube in full. So please, if you want to listen to these conversations again and listen to what we do, then Abo agent, we have a WhatsApp group. They are contributing members to the Overthinking Football family. To do that, to contribute, head on over to YouTube, click subscribe, click on join. It's just 20 Rand a month. And then you'll be able to get access to our WhatsApp group where we even go deeper on these things without any time constraints. And you can listen to Abu Malume Kutso, Abu Agent, Abu Velile, everybody that you've heard. A lot of them are in that group. So please, it also helps me keep everything up and keep this platform running. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you guys then tomorrow, 7 p.m. Buyakazi, Kaizer Chiefs. I said it, I'm live.